Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be doing a book look with the story The Bells and the Everlasting Rose by Dhonielle Clayton. And I just want to take a quick second and introduce myself before we get into the review. My name is Haley. This is Cosmo. Here are my socials. And this is my realm of creativity where I mainly focus on makeup and fantasy related things. So if that sounds interesting to you, please consider subscribing and becoming a companion on my makeup quest. Now let's get into the video. Like I said, today we are going to be going over the two books by Dhonielle Clayton. I'm going to be doing a little bit of a different style video than I did last time. I'm still going to keep the review and the look separate, so that will be in the second half of the video, but for the review, I'm also going to be kind of dissecting what I think works and what doesn't in this book in particular, because I have a lot of thoughts about it. I really do love the story, but I think there could have been some changes to it that would have made it even stronger, and I wanted to share those with you. First thing you need to know before you start this book, if you were going to start it at all, is that it's told by 16-year-old Camille. So if you're over the age of 20, be prepared, because there's going to be sometimes an extreme lack of common sense that's going to drive you mad. But just keep that in mind. Remember when you were 16 and you also made questionable decisions. I made questionable decisions. 16-year-olds just make questionable decisions, all right? And Camille is not an exception at all. Second thing you need to know is that there's a borderline excessive amount of description in this book, and of literally everything that Camille looks at, she describes in great lengthy detail, which makes for a very beautiful world. But if you are not into that descriptive of writing, I say bail at page 10, at least by page 10, because it's not going to get any better, and I've warned you, okay? Because I personally love descriptive writing. It is something that I really enjoy. I like knowing every detail, minute, big, small, doesn't matter. I want to know everything about a world because I want to be as immersed in it as I can, and I want to know exactly what the author has in their head. So I love, the more descriptive the better for me personally. If it's not your cup of tea, leave, bail, go. You're just not gonna be happy. I'm sorry. But those are the only two kind of things that you need to keep in mind if you're going to be reading this yourself. Otherwise, if you can get past that, you are in for a ride of beautifully painted scenery where beauty is the largest commodity in this world. All the people in the realm of Orleans, with the exception of the Bells, are born with gray skin, straw hair, and red eyes. Bells are said to have fallen from the sky as a gift from the goddess of beauty to make the Gree beautiful. Powers themselves that the Bells have are referenced to as the Arcana, and the Arcana is split up into different categories. So for instance, if somebody came in to get like a body shaping, the Bell would use a different Arcana than if somebody wanted a talent improved or a mood disposition changed. So it kind of has different categories of what Arcana affects which, and all of the Bells have all of the Arcanas, but I believe that some have they're more attuned to one specific Arcana, I believe. The Arcana system itself kind of teeters between a soft and a hard magic system, and personally, that kind of bothers me. There are some limits to the Arcana itself, but they're not consistently brought up or applied throughout the book. The limits are only in place when it is pertinent to the storyline. So, for instance, if you overexert yourself in the Arcana, you run the risk of the Bells can become ugly themselves permanent wrinkles, misplaced eyes, stuff that are kind of pretty grotesque if the arcanas are overly used or out of balance. The way that they balance their arcanas is through eating chocolate and bloodletting with leeches, and that isn't as consistently applied as I would hope it would be if they wanted to make it a strict hard limit. It's just like a soft critique. I wish it would be more consistently brought up that they, especially Camille, I don't feel like it is as limiting to her, and she is supposed to be kind of like the most, not the most powerful, but more powerful than her sisters. So I think that it would have been a lot, if she wanted to add limits, I think that it would have better served and would have been more convincing of the Arcana had limitations if they were imposed on Camille instead of really everybody around her that also uses their Arcana. We start the story at a showcase of kind of strength and power with Camille being last. The showcase is a celebration that happens every couple of years, I believe, and all the belles of the generation go and do this beauty showcase that really celebrates them and their power. And the whole premise or point of it is for the royal family to pick which belle they want for the favorite. And the favorite would stay at court and be the belle to the royal family as well as the court. And then the rest of them would be placed in different establishments called tea houses across the archipelago. Orleans is like a string of islands, and each island is different. So there's like a fashion island and a gold island and fashion, silk. And then there's the fire isles and glass isles and gold, stuff like that. I thought that was a really interesting world setup. I thought it was really beautifully explained, but each island has its own tea house that gets assigned a belle after the favorite is chosen. Camellia is not picked, even though she has the strongest showcase out of all of them. She is, however, placed in the closest tea house, so she is still in the capital city, but she is not the favorite belle, so she is not at court. It isn't too long after she is placed that, I think it was about like maybe a week, maybe two, that she's called back to court and is given the place of favorite, and she is switching places with her favorite sister, Amber. And she doesn't get to talk to Amber. She doesn't know what's going on. It's not really customary to be demoted from favorite. It's not something that happens. She didn't know what was going on. We hear these rumors of like grotesque beauty work that Amber did on Princess Sophia's ladies, but nothing is ever confirmed. It is said, I don't remember all of them, but one of them was that Amber turned one of the ladies' skins translucent, and there are laws regulating beauty work for the safety of the people of Orleans, because it is a very extreme kind of competition. Who can be the most beautiful? There's always magazines and newspapers that are publishing different fashion trends, different skin trends, different hair trends. The people are really diverse, and it is a competition to look the most unique. So there are laws in place to keep people safe. So you can't make your skin translucent, you can't put your waist under a certain size, you can't remove bones. So Amber supposedly made somebody's skin translucent, and so now she is no longer the favorite. At this time, we're kind of introduced to the love interest, Auguste Fabry. He's just really a bad boy type. I feel like she kind of likes him because of like a limited exposure to men in general, especially guys her age. She's also really lonely. This is her first time without her sisters, and Her sisterly love and bond is a huge theme of the book, especially for it, at least to me it is. It's a huge part of her as a character. And it's her first time alone. She doesn't really know what love is. She doesn't have a dad. That's not how the Belles are raised. They're just raised by previous Belles, and those are their mamans. I think that she didn't know what love was, and he was like, oh, well, you're the prettiest girl I've ever seen, and she doesn't have anybody to lean on and be like, hey, I think I like this guy, and her sisters aren't there. There's also an added forbiddenness because August is also a suitor of Princess Sophia, so that might add to the want element. From there's not a whole lot of plot that comes into play. The main conflict is that Camille has a choice to either help Sophia get into a state of mind where she can be queen. She's a little frantic, or she can help the now reigning queen wake her other daughter, Charlotte, who has been in a coma for the past 5 years now. So those are really her two options, is to either risk overexerting herself in her Arcana to wake Charlotte, risk her life and other people's by putting Sophia on the throne. There's always obstacles to this plot point, but there's never solutions that Camille herself comes up with. They kind of just, hits an obstacle and then something happens and then it's gone, and then another obstacle comes. She just kind of, I don't want to say deals with it or fakes it till she makes it. It just things happen to her, but she doesn't solve any problems herself. She's not very interactive with the story and environment itself. That's probably the best way that I can put it. The antagonist is a Joffrey Lannister wannabe, Sophia. She's a beast of a beast bitch. She's a beastie bitch. She's horrible. I hate her. She's a really good antagonist. I think her evil really shines through. Her motivations are a little unclear because the book makes it sound like she was all fine and dandy before her sister went into a coma. And then sometimes it's that she was really jealous of her sister and she wanted to be the most beautiful in all the kingdom, and her sister was always getting the attention for the tabloids, but then it's her mom didn't give her enough attention and that's why she's evil. It's really kind of unclear. It sounds like jealousy is the driving force with her, but it's not really ever, I feel, clear enough to where why, or I just think maybe if she was just chaotic for the sake of being chaotic, it would have fit a little bit better. But you find out that she is the one that made her sister in a coma. She poisoned her sister, and we find that out after she poisons Camellia, and then that kind of solidifies Camelia's choice as to whether or not to help the queen and wake Charlotte or not. And I mean, a lot of other horrific things happen. And then kind of circling back to Camellia not really doing much, one of her sisters, Adel, she goes missing. She has written Camellia a handful of times throughout the book, saying that there's screaming and crying at night in the fire tea house, and she's being overworked and she can't get her levels balanced and everything is going on, and then she disappears. It's unclear right away if she ran away or got taken. There's an heir. I like saying that there's an heir. So when Adel disappears, Camellia she is really scared for her sister and she wants to go see the fire tea house and see if she can find her, but then something else happens and she doesn't get to do that. I guess starts to think of something to do, and then immediately something else happens, so she can never really act on what she wants to do. everything is just happening to her, and she never gets to really just focus on what is important to her, which is her sisters. Sophia really wants to push the boundaries of beauty work. She wants to have control over the people around her, what they look like, how beautiful they are and compared to her, and make sure that it's always her that is on top as far as the tabloids and inspiring beauty trends and stuff like that. She wants to be in control of it all. And there's a scene that's really grotesque and horrible. There's a party that you discover that August has been spying for his mother and Sophia and getting information from Camille. I know, I told you, he's a bad boy. He told them how to make bells and kind of properties that the bell blood has. Very little about really anything because Camille didn't really know much. But at the tea party, we find that, Auguste is a traitor. I mean, shocker. But also, Sophia brings Amber back and has her and Camellia rapidly change one of her ladies to compete to be Sophia's favorite. And that rapid beauty work kills her lady. She's really torturous. Like I said, Joffrey Lannister want to be. She gets the both of them arrested for the murder of her lady, even though there's an entire party of people who watched her push and push and push for them to change her. And even though Camille was very adamant at first, she became a little complacent, but she was very adamant that she needed her tools. She needed to have a proper working station to make sure that her lady was comfortable and not in any pain. And Sophia was like, fuck it, you're gonna do whatever the hell I tell you to do, and you're gonna like it. And so with the rapid changing, that is a really intensive process. You can only really get 3 things done at a time without it hurting you. So with all of those changes, it just stopped her heart. And so Amber and Camellia get arrested for the murder, and Remy, who we haven't talked about yet, Remy, who was assigned to Camellia as her guard when she was working at the palace, breaks her out, and they go in these like secret tunnels in the castle to get to Charlotte's room, and Amber and Camellia wake Charlotte. Sophia finds that they're out of the dungeons, and they go on this manhunt, and she knows that she is waking up Charlotte. They manage to escape. Amber, Remy, and Camellia, they manage to escape, and they're laying low. They're in like a boarded shack house in place. Very low. They're keeping quiet. They're on the down low. And there's a knock on the door. And they open the door, and it's Adel. And that's how it ends. Adel's alive. Bum, bum, ba. Now, there are things about the second book that I like, and there are things about the second book that I think didn't really need to be in it, but for the most part, I think we could have done with half of what is in the second book. I think it would have benefited the story more if it was one book. I just think it would have read better, and it would have been a stronger story if it was one. There are probably a good half of each book that I don't think serves as much purpose as I think Dhonielle meant it to. In the second book, Remy and Camellia fall in love, which I'm honestly so here for. He is amazing and I love him. Remy's the best. I think she was trying to make like a team Edward Jacob thing go on, but honestly, for me personally, Auguste was not very likable, and I think that it wasn't a good relationship choice. If the book could be one book, I would have rather her make Auguste a court lady. I think it would have been more convincing because she is without her sisters for the first time, and she's really missing that sisterhood and really missing that kind of friendship. And I think that it would have made more sense, and I think she would have gotten more information than Auguste did, because there would have been already that familiarity instead of Auguste being like her first kind of male interaction and trying to navigate that as a 16-year-old girl that's really barely been around boys her age. There was that kind of level to it too. So I don't think that he got as much information as maybe a girl could have. And then we could have done a slower burn with the relationship between her and Remy, which I think would have paid off a lot more in the end, because I don't think that there was enough set up with her and Auguste for you to really root for him instead of Remy. And I mean, it's hard to root against Remy because he knows that Camille is heartbroken, and he really respects the fact that she is going through a heartbreak and knows that she had feelings for Auguste, and just really treats her with respect, and his feelings are shown more in action than just saying that she's the most beautiful girl he's ever seen, which I mean, I'm sure she is, but that's not the basis for their feelings together. Really, not a whole lot happens. A lot of information that's given to you about like what is happening in the kingdom with Sophia and the other Belles is given to you passively through these newspapers that are they sound like Harry Potter-esque, like animated ink kind of things. And I mean, they're animated ink, but theirs are spells. Anyway, so a lot of that information is being given to you through Camille seeing these papers and reading them. Sophia makes a prison essentially called the Everlasting Rose, and she is working to drain Camelia's sisters of blood as much as she can without killing them to make Belle babies for sale. You find out that Camelia and the Belle that was assigned to Princess Charlotte are these kind of ethers of the Belles, and they're called Everlasting Roses, and their blood is used to make new Belles. It comes out that it's not as God influenced as they were led to believe when they were younger, the Belles. They're told that they are handmade by the god of beauty and then sent down, and that's not true. The ether's blood is taken and put into the ground, and Belle babies grow out of the ground in a forest near Maison Rouge, which is where it is said that the first Belles landed in that forest. So that's kind of unclear as to how that it very, very first started happening, if it is really that the goddess of beauty made the Belles and sent them down, or if they were always just kind of a product of something like this. Sophia finds out this knowledge through her little spy, Auguste, uses the Belle blood to make more Belles. It's a practice that had already been implemented, but it wasn't widely known. So there is the Belles that compete, and then there are Belles that are just used. That's where that crying came from. They are chained. They don't have exposure. They can't go outside. All they know is beauty work. And so they are really disfigured. They have those deep set wrinkles. They have misplaced eyes. Who is that? I'm thinking of that guy from the Goonies. I can't remember his name. My mom will kill me. They're just really not beautiful creatures, but they are made to do beauty work. So they have the beautiful set, and they have the set that is made to keep up with the demand of beauty work. And that is unknown to the Bells, really. They don't know about each other, and they're really raised in this isolation. It's kind of all comes to light in this book. After kind of all this news, blood being taken, Belle babies being making, I didn't mean for that to rhyme, then a lot of stuff happens very, very quickly, which is why I think that it could have been one book, because a lot of that passively knowing about things through those newspapers, through Camille, didn't really need to happen. Sophia captures Remy's family, and so Remy has to split from the group and go rescue his family. Then after he splits from the group, Adel and Camellia, they are trying to find Charlotte. In the process of finding Charlotte, they get kidnapped by this group called the Iron Ladies, who are a fringe group who live on like the outskirts of society, reject beauty work. They live as Gree full time, and they want to reinvent how beauty and beauty work is done in the kingdom, and try and help people transition from getting beauty work done all the time to becoming Gree, because there is like this kind of exclusivity to beauty work. It's not required, but it is kind of a privileged thing. And so they really try and help people. They know where Charlotte is, and they are going to take them to her. And in the process, Adel gets captured. When Camellia gets to Charlotte and the Gold Isles, she gets news that I'm telling you, this stuff, it happens quick. So I'm telling you everything. Like, it happened in maybe 5 chapters, and the chapters aren't very long, so it's very quick. They find Charlotte, and Camellia gets news that Remy has been captured and is being tortured, and she has to leave like immediately. So she comes up with a plan to get the Iron Ladies into the kingdom before the coronation with Charlotte, so she can take back the throne. They have a plan in motion, and I'm not really gonna go in detail to the plan because it's not really pertinent to the story a whole lot. The day of the coronation, Camellia basically gets outed in the kingdom, in the party, before the Iron Ladies and Charlotte come into the palace, and she basically has like a surge of power, of like anger and stuff, because Sophia snaps Amber's neck, and she finds out that Amber was a traitor, which you never get explained, as to why she picks Sophia over her family. And that bothers me, that you just never know. But anyway, she has a surge of power, and she pictures everybody in the ballroom in her mind, and she slows everybody's heart rate down one by one, and is like on the brink of death practically, from the amount of Arcana that she is using to just like kill every single person, not just Sophia, every single person in the room. And I mean, just in the nick of time, as per usual, the Iron Ladies and Charlotte come in, and she passes out, and that is really it. The only other thing that happens, she wakes up, and all of her sisters that are still alive, that made it, out alive without being completely drained of their blood. I think 2 or 3 of them died. She has all of her sisters in bed with her, and Princess Charlotte comes in. She's still weak. She's still in a wheelchair, but she is a lot healthier than she was, and she wants to do how beauty work is. She really wants to help the Iron Ladies and assisting people who want to be great, and to make beauty work more ethical in the way that the Belles are treated, in the way that clients treat the Belles, in the way that Belles are made, and stuff like that. They just want to redo the framework of how beauty work is done, and they want Camille to stay to help that process. She declines, and Adel steps up and offers to stay and do that. It's something that she's really passionate about, and she wants to make sure that nobody treats another Belle the same way, the way that her and her sisters were treated. And Camille goes home. She goes to Maison Rouge with her other sisters, as well as the Belles that she didn't know about, the kind of wonky ones. They all go to Maison Rouge and they stay there. And the very end is just her and Remy walking into that forest. And that's it. That is the dead end. That's it. That's all. Sophia lives, and you don't get to know what happens. You, like, after every single thing that you've read, like, she's done, that you've read and hate her for, you don't get to know what happens to her at all. She's in the Everlasting Rose prison that she got, that she built for the Belles, so that is her own prison. Charlotte wanted her alive, so she's not gonna die. She wants to try and rehabilitate her sister. And I absolutely hate that you don't know that. I absolutely hate that you don't know what happens to Sophia. It's just horrendous. Why would you do that? I also don't like that you don't find out how beauty work changes. Like, there's no, what is it, epilogue, prologue, whatever, at the end. There's no, like, little excerpt that kind of, like, goes over what was left. You don't know why Amber sold out her sisters. You don't know anything. I don't know where the king went. I mean, that's a very little detail, but I don't know where the king went. But overall, I personally loved the story. I think it was very beautiful, and I really identify with Camellia and her, like, drive being sisterly love, and really reminiscing on her childhood growing up with them. There's a lot of excerpts where she's just describing each of her sisters and their likes and their dislikes and how they smelled and how they laughed, and it's just a really nostalgic feeling for me in particular, having two sisters and them being I love them to death. Very, very, very protective of them. I completely just identified and clicked with her goals being oriented towards the safety of her sisters. Were they always executed? No. But I think that is how it is. I mean, you grow up with siblings, and especially us older siblings, and you want to protect them, but then your own life gets in the way of a duty that you hold so integral to your being. And it's just kind of how it goes, and that is how the story went. She had other things happening, even though her main thoughts and feelings were for the protection of her sisters. They weren't always executed, and she didn't always get to act on that protective side because of other outside influences. So I identified with that part of the book. I think also to kind of bring it into the real world a little bit, I think Dhonielle really draws a really nice parallel between the most important people in society and the most undervalued people in society. I think especially with last year with COVID and everything, we have realized that our most valuable people are also our most undervalued people. Frontline workers struggling to get hazard pay and being acknowledged as integral to the function of our society, and getting that acknowledgement, and not just we stand with frontline workers, like getting that substance, that money, that like tangible appreciation. It doesn't really happen. And the bells, beauty is the integral part of the Orlais. It's not Dragon Age. Orleans kingdom. Beauty is what makes it run. And the bells make it run. They are made for that reason, and they are treated poorly. There is a scene where Camellia almost gets raped, and it was a very hard scene to listen to, but it was also very telling of the work, and it was very telling of how people saw the bells truly. Yes, they were beautiful without having beauty work. Yes, they had these gifts, but they were still below other people for some reason. And having the bells that weren't even able to have a chance at being the beautiful bells, they were just made for the consumption of the people. And I think that it really parallels with how our workers are, how our society is, and that is at least what I took away from it. And I want to just leave it here. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It should be my makeup next. I know I kind of got a little rambly with this, but I really wanted to dive into different aspects of the story, what I liked, what I didn't like. As a writer and world builder at heart, I really wanted to kind of dip my toe into critiquing the book as well, because I did enjoy it. I vastly enjoyed it, but I do think that there were things that could have been done better, and I think that is I liked looking at it that way. I think that it's going to be probably the way that I look at the book looks more often. And if you guys liked how I did this, please make sure that you comment down below, and I will see you guys in just a second. This is the second part of my second book and look video, and I'm really excited to do this one. It's a little less adventurous than I did previously, but for the concept of today's look, I wanted to kind of go with the theme of the book. All of the sisters, all the bells, are named after flowers, and then a lot of their makeup, dresses, traits, stuff like that have to do with the flowers that they are named after. So there's Edelweiss, Camellia, Ambrosia. There's just a lot of flowers. Even names that I didn't know were flowers, like Hannah, are flowers. So I wanted to pick a flower and then try and do a elevated kind of high fashion, what a belle would look like if their name was that. So I asked my husband to pick a couple of flowers, and then I picked from those. So I'm doing blue hydrangeas, and so I decided to have kind of voluminous puffy buns because they're Blanche is with us today. Voluminous puffy buns because of the shape that they're in. They're very round, usually when they're in arrangements and stuff like that. So I wanted to try and model my hair the best that I could from them. And then I have this blue dress on and white because they come in a wider range of colors, and I'm gonna focus on like the very popular like sky blue white combination that they come in. So that is what I'm going to do, and just gonna get started. I have my little post-it note here that I am going to be referencing a lot because last time I messed up and didn't reference my thing enough, and I ended up not doing at all what my makeup look like what I wanted to do. So we're definitely going to be like leaning on that one pink post-it note that I have. So I'm not doing anything too dramatic with the eyes today, so I think I'm going to start with my face, which I usually don't do. We're going for a semi-matte kind of look. We're not going for something super glowy today, as per my usual. We're going for something just a little bit lighter than normal. I really liked coming up with this look. I was really excited to do it because I took inspiration from like 60 Mod makeup. There's this one creator I follow on Instagram, and she always does like 60 mod inspired makeup, and I love her looks. So she definitely helped me as far as look inspiration goes. I don't know her name, so I'll put her like a post and her handle somewhere on the screen so you guys can know who I'm talking about. And I'm just mixing my Milk Makeup Blur Liquid with some of my white foundation mixer that I have. And I'm going to conceal my brows. I'm not gonna glue them down. I'm gonna conceal over my eyebrows today. I've never done that. So again, with the adventurous kind of makeup, I'm just taking a little bit of my e.l.f. concealer. I usually conceal under my foundation. We're doing character makeup, so I want like a really lifted outer eye, so I'm not really bringing it any in the book. A lot of natural features always kind of peek through, and it's okay if I have a little bit of dark under eyes because the book really plays a lot with this natural beauty not always being perfection kind of thing. I'm just taking my e.l.f. eyebrow pencil that has a spoolie on the end because I don't really use this spoolie anymore. I'm just taking my concealer and running that through my brows. Just trying to get down to the base of my eyebrows just to make sure they're as covered as they can be. Okay, I think I'm gonna leave my brows like that and let them dry and move on to my eye look. I don't know if it would be more easier for me to do my eyeliner first and then my eyeshadow. I think it would be easier for me to do my eyeshadow first and then my eyeliner. I am taking my Nomad Harajuku palette and dipping into this mint shade right here. And I'm just gonna put that all over my lid. I keep this very blocky and bright. Honestly, right now, I'm thinking that I might have to go in with the other blue just because my eyeliner is gonna be white and I don't know if this is gonna give me the contrast that I want. I'm gonna dip into Delish from my Blueberry Muffin palette. Every single time I move, one of my buns moves. Now I'm taking my eyeliner. This isn't very glidey. This isn't as white as I want it. It's like mixing with the blue. All right, now to repeat this on the other side. Good, tell me good luck. Okay, I think I'm gonna go over this with Lumos from my Christie palette. Taking this tiny little brush, is teeny tiny. Going to go into Lumos. The lines aren't as clean as I'd want them to be, and I don't know how to fix it. I am going to take my Krylon stick. All right, back to what I was doing with my stick, so I can hopefully get cleaner lines. I'm just taking an angled brush, going where the white and blue mix. I think that helped. It still didn't brighten up the white where I want it to be. Like, I want it to be, you know, white. I just don't think that, I don't even know if you guys can tell that it's not that white on camera. But to me, it just looks very muddy. I went a little too high with that white line on the side. and tried to even it out, but I don't want it to get like that eyeliner situation where you like add some more and then you add some more and then you add some more and then you add some more and then your just entire eye is black. So I'm just trying to keep myself under control. And I want a very thin kind of brow, so I'm going to, and kind of high. So I'm going right where my eyebrow starts with the white, and I'm just going like that. And then I'll just take some of Hurtful and the blue on my eye, and I'm just gonna shade in my, I just wanted it to be like an ombre blue brown moment. Oh, there's a girl that does book looks. I don't know if she was the like original creator, but like right after I published it, I was doing research for this book look on YouTube to see like what kind of book reviews people were doing of the bells, and I found hers, and her page was named Book Look, and I was like, oh no, she's gonna hate me. She's gonna think that like I totally stole her gig, and I was like, oh no, because she has a significant amount of following. She has a larger following than I do, and I reached out to her on Instagram. I was like, hey, I had no clue that you were doing these. Number one, you're insanely talented. She's a makeup artist. I will link her like YouTube down below. Stunning, jaw-droppingly gorgeous looks. I was like, hey, I didn't know that you did a thing called book looks. I just uploaded my first one. Just wanted to let you know. I didn't know, blah, blah, blah. And if you could give me pointers on like full base makeup, that'd be great. And she was phenomenally nice. Like, so genuinely like excited that another person was like in the same space like doing book looks, and like it was nice. I was afraid that she was gonna like not kill me, but not be as I mean larger creators don't have to be nice to anybody, and I was just like thank you. But I was floored and honored, and I was really thankful that she was understanding of my worry. Do some mascara. We're gonna move on to cheeks here in just a second. The more I look at it, the less I like hate it. It's just I wish it turned out a little bit better than it did, but it's a lot more on track than I was last time. I'm gonna do some eyeliner if I can figure out how to do eyeliner. I'm making a change that might be detrimental to my makeup look. Everybody hold their breath. I'm just running my brush with a little bit of the black in my little like flash palette kind of thingy right underneath my white, as close to the lash line as I can get it, and then going back in with that white wherever I put it. Alright, well this eye looks pretty spectacular. This eye is alright, not horrendous, but not as good as this eye. So, I don't know if you can see. I'm really liking it so far. I'm going in with a rather precisioned brush for my blush because I want to make them really round and very centralized. And then I thought I had one of my pink highlighters still, but I think the only one I have is my Kaleidos one, which might be too shiny for this. So I'm just taking this little one of the, I only have these two left of my little AOA powder blushes in Euphoria. It's just like a really bright bubblegum pink color. And I'm just going to try and keep it, I'm not going really ham. I'm just going really right under my iris, right where if I'm looking straight forward, this is where my eye stops, and going just like right on my cheekbone right here. Because I don't want it to be like two circles, but I Don't want it to really leave this area. Don't ask me why. I didn't really think of a reference for this. I just kind of wanted it to very doll-like and not very like not human, but I wanted it to look very intentional. It's a very different blush placement than what I normally do. Very, very different. Whenever I contour my nose with like bronzer, I don't really like slimming my nose down. I just like making it look like it's a little higher than it is. And slimming it on the tail end just a little bit. So I just go over like the round of my button. Whatever I'm using, if I'm particularly trying to shape it, which I don't do fairly often. Okay, now I'm gonna take just the smallest amount of my Kaleidos, just the tiniest dab, and just putting that in the center like that. Just so when I smile, there's just a little bit of sparkle. I'm going to wipe off my crusty, dusty lips at the bottom of my shirt that you can't see. And I'm gonna just take like the tiniest bit of concealer and just try and cover up the outside corners of my mouth because I want to do a really pouty look. I want to concentrate a lot of the color in the middle. I think I'm going to use this liquid lipstick as like as a liner, and then I'm gonna go in the middle with my bright ass candy floss from I think it's from Jouer. Let me look. No, Mellow. It's from Mellow. I always think it's pretty easy to use a liquid lip as a liner. It dries really fast. And if you get one that can go over itself, it helps with the layering of the opacity. I'm just taking the Jouer. Mellow. It's Mellow, Haley. It's Mellow, not Jouer. I don't own anything from Jouer. I'm not that cool. I think I'm done. I love my look. I think I look really pretty, and I really love this blush placement. I know it's not like my everyday kind of blush placement. I usually try and keep everything pretty high up, but I like this really rounded look that I have going on. I'm definitely gonna try my hand at this like 60s kind of inspired mod like eyeliner look again. I need to figure out a better way of doing this. These LA Girl eyeliners, the Glide ones, they are good for the waterline. I have a couple of other colors. I've tried to use them for line work in the past. They're just too creamy to like make a solid line. So I definitely need to figure out what the best option is that I have that I can kind of pull that look off with, because I think I look really pretty. I really love it. I probably would have blocked my brows out, but I think I like it. I don't know. I just look kind of like a doll, and I think it's really cute. And yeah, if you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. I would love to have you guys around. I typically do in this order, usually a book look, and then a filler video, and then either another book look or a fierce face, where I do kind of the same thing, but I give you animal facts instead. Those are really the videos that I love filming. I love researching, and I just love coming and sharing what I found with you guys. So if that's something that sounds interesting to you, please subscribe. Go follow me on my socials. It's a fun time. I want to get more engagement with my videos in particular, because I want you guys to help pick what books I'm doing, help me pick what animals I'm doing, because I want it to be something for us to learn. So I will see you guys in the next one.